In this video, we'll demonstrate how to use the new buyer intake form. First step is to get logged into your account. You'll notice down in the bookmark section that there is a buyer intake form link. You'll click that link, up pops the buyer intake form, and you'll just go ahead and complete each of the steps. Be aware that these steps can open and close, so just clicking on the column header will open and close each of the steps. The assigned to should be the person's name entering the record, or the buyer's agent assigned to this record. The channel source, where it's coming from, and for instance, if this is a radio lead and I know what station it came from, I can put the station in. If this was a referral lead, I can put the person that it was referred from. Purchaser information is pretty straightforward. If there's a second purchaser or a co-borrower, you can put their information in here. Step 3 is the buyer criteria. And then submit the form. Once the form is submitted, you can go back into your account. Now when you come back into your account, if you hit the refresh button, it'll give the page a chance to reload, and you will actually see a task for that record that you just created right there on your home page. Now, because you use that web form, each one of these buyer opportunities is going to be associated with the process. So from this point forward, you can click this pencil. You'll see the steps that are associated with this process. The information that you filled out on the form is already there. So if you're ready to move forward to setting the criteria in the MLS, you just select the possible result and the next due date. So the next due date is basically the next day that you want to see this reminder come up on your calendar. So if it's in 1 day, you can select 1 day and click submit. So this process tab here that's associated with each one of these opportunities is what keeps track of this opportunity and keeps it accountable. So you actually don't have to schedule a task for follow-up if you're using this process feature. So for instance here, this one says that the process is in the criteria step. It's due on 12/13. It's assigned to Tim. Logged in as Tim right now. So if I go to 12/13 on Tim's calendar, I would see that task for that opportunity. Now the nice thing about these is you can't just complete this task and get rid of it. It's going to ask you always what the next possible result is. So if this one was going to go into the showings phase, then I would select showings, I would select my next possible due date, and I would click submit. Now if you want to get rid of this, you would either need to put it on hold or you would need to put it to lost deal. So if I was tired of having this show up on my task list, I would select it to lost deal and I would click submit and I would get rid of it. The information that was collected on the buyer form, if you go back to the detail page, will be right here under buyer. You'll see the buyer criteria, and there's also the financing information. So these two field groups will be where you'll capture your additional buyer information. If you want to keep just a regular note, you can just go in here and type a note, and you can add some just information to the file here. Whatever that note might be, you can add it, and then you just click the add button over here to the right to submit any sort of a note. If you do want to schedule an appointment, you can just click this drop down to appointment. You can type the description, the note, you can select the date, and we click add, and the appointment is right there. It's all linked together, so as we open up that appointment, if we go to the references tab, we see that the reference is back to that opportunity. And then also from the calendar, that buyer showings appointment is right here on our calendar. Actually, here it is, right here on our calendar. And we can click and go right to the opportunity from that appointment. So the main thing to remember with these buyers is how to create a new one. You use the buyer intake form, and then just the idea of managing them through the sales process. You'll see tasks show up on your task list. You'll complete those, advance them to the next step. You'll advance the due date, select the possible result, and you'll be reminded to follow up with that opportunity until it's sold or dead. Thank you.